Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Smart Home Collective. Today I am delighted to be joined by two guests. On my virtual left I have Stu from Stu's Reviews, and on my right I have Mark from Technology4life. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I've got tea, or I had tea, that's good. I've got you two, and I've got like an hour of my life I can just chat rubbish about smart home tech. So does life get any better? I think not.
The sun's coming out, which makes it even better.
And the sun's coming out.
Stu, so Stu's channel, 228 videos. Stu, a massive 55,000 subscribers.
Really? 220? Really?
I counted them.
Oh, yeah.
Counted
By
them.
hand.
By hand.
One by one. I haven't watched them all.
I'll need to go through that. There's the backlog to go through this weekend. Stu, to me, is the Nigella Lawson of smart content creators on YouTube. Very smooth tones and a really charming backdrop on your videos. Mark, an incredible array of quality.
Is it not a nice bust or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
Nice bust, nice figure, anything like that will be good. But
lots of poorly pronounced stuff maybe as you go along, microwave.
Yeah, Stu, I would say voluptuous.
Thank you.
Mark, I've got to say, incredible array of shirts. Colourful shirts, a new one in each video. So much so that I heard that YouTube are concerned your shirt wardrobe would outstrip their cloud storage.
Entirely possible, I'd say.
So guys, probably segue into, you want to each of you give an overview of your channel, whether it's followers listening or not. So Stu, starting with you, just a very high level overview of your channel.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing YouTube now for several years, I'd say, and it's kind of evolved over time into what we know as Stu's Reviews today. But typically speaking, my tagline is just testing the bold claims of manufacturers one gadget at a time. So I like to, well, in the past, I like to look at what manufacturers claim and then just see if that's possible to do, and usually take it a little bit too far as well. So, for example, we tested a bunch of phone cases by shooting them. That's probably not that normal, but, you know, not a normal scenario, but we like to take it one step further. You know, speakers, testing whether or not they're waterproof. Let's take it diving instead of just testing it in the bath. So that is what my channel is all about. Although, obviously, with coronavirus, it stopped us doing some of the more wilder challenges. We've focused more on sort of home stuff because everyone is at home at the moment. But yeah, that's what my channel's about, predominantly just testing the bold claims of manufacturers.
Brilliant, thanks. One of the things I do love about the channel is car boot sale for the Patreon subscribers. Where did that idea come from? And for those that aren't a patron, what is the car boot sale? Right.
So yeah, basically we get sent, or I get sent a lot of stuff in the post. A lot of stuff is really random. I don't know how or why it gets sent to me. Honest to God, I have no idea. My name must be on some sort of bizarre Chinese tech list or something. I seriously, some of the weirdest things I've been sent are things like bath mats, which has no relevance to like tech at all. I mean, I was sent a dead bird very recently, or like a stuffed dead bird. Honestly, I don't know who is sending this stuff. Anyway, long story short, we've got a lot of different stuff in the studio, and it's just piling up, stuff that we won't ever look at again. So what I tend to do is get rid of this stuff in what's called the car boot sale for patrons only. And the car boot sale basically just goes up, and people have the chance of bidding on these items that I put up for sale. So it's only about 6 items a month. It's a blind bid system, though, so you don't know what anyone else has bid. So the idea is that people can bid and get something for really, really cheap. But we do it because we want to raise a bit of money for charity as well. At the moment, we only donate a portion to charity, but it is my kind of ultimate goal to make it completely self-sustaining and to be able to donate 100% of everything sold in that car boot sale to charity. But that's a stretch goal at the moment.
No, it's a great idea.
Stu, has the stuffed bird gone?
No.
Excellent. Right, I'm signing up as a patron now.
No, it's not. No, it was in here somewhere and it's disappeared. I've got the weirdest stuff in this room because of that. But no, if you want, I'll put the dead bird up on Patreon next month in the car boot sale.
Excellent. Right, I'm off. I'm going to go and sign up now.
Mark, you're probably a little early on in your YouTube.
Oh yeah.
What really prompted it?
So I started about a year ago. So I think it was March last year. So it's probably something to do with being in lockdown and kind of thinking to myself, I could either spend the evenings in the house or the days in the house, or I can escape to the shed and do YouTube videos there. I've actually always been really into technology anyway. I work for a technology company as well, but and I've always had people ask me about my smart home tech, and I've thought, well, if I just record it and then share it with other people, that's a nice easy way of kind of sending that knowledge out there, and I guess having not to explain it to them myself. So a bit of sanity and a bit of information sharing, I think, is the reason.
And you're pushing for that magic 1K subscribers.
I am. Yeah. So I'm on I'm where Stu would have been years ago. So trying to get to the magic 1K, depending on where you read, that's either like a big milestone that helps or is not. But for me, I'm hopefully this week with a bit of luck.
Yes. So listeners, get over to Mark's YouTube channel and subscribe. click that subscribe button. Yeah.
Thank you.
Before we launch into some news items, Mark, what is the best gadget you've ever bought? Not being given, bought.
That I've bought, yeah. So I had a good think about this last night, and it's definitely my Facebook portal. So last year, March, pretty much after March 23rd, I bought myself one. I bought my sister and my mum one, and got them sent to their houses. So that thing, basically, like a video conferencing, and we could have used WhatsApp, and we could have used our phones and iPads and all that sort of stuff. But those three devices, they're freaking amazing. They are amazing. So I've gone through 2 Mother's Days where we've had them sat at the end of the table virtually, and had Mother's Day with my parents, and we're about to do another one. We've had Christmas Day with all 3 families, couldn't really see each other, so we had them on the end of the table, literally. They have daily calls with my my mum, and so I've seen my little boy, and more importantly, seen my daughter kind of go from a baby to now walking. And I actually had the most epic of New Year's. So I sent my friends some disco lights, right? And I sent them some decorations. And New Year's started about 9 o'clock. We use Spotify to have the same music playing, because you can share your playlist active and control it in all 3 houses. And yeah, it's like they were there basically. And about 6 o'clock I went to bed the next morning. Literally one of the biggest New Year's I've ever had. And they're just amazing. They're really amazing bits of kit, and totally worth the money.
I've never heard anyone with one. That's the first.
Yeah. No, I was going to say someone's actually bought one.
Well, 3.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I've tripled their sales. yeah, I've tripled their sales. Yeah, they're epic. They really are. They're amazing little bits of kit. They just do the job. The other thing we have is they all look at the same Facebook album. And so when one of our kids does something, I'll upload it to Facebook, and a couple of minutes later, it appears on their photo frames, as it were. Because when it's not being used, it's just like a photo frame. They're really you can tell they're emotionally. It's a really amazing piece of kit.
How
so glad I bought it.
Are they user friendly for old people? Are they? I mean,
well, my mum's using it, so there's your answer, mate. They really are. Plug it in. You can partially configure it, I think, before it gets sent. But yeah, basically, as long as they can click on a button that says answer call, job done. In fact, they can talk to it. So as long as they could speak to it, right? They are really user friendly. And the photo album bit, you just set that up the once, it's done. I now pop those photos and it appears on theirs a couple of minutes later. Really, really good.
Do you need to be a Facebook? I was going to say, do you need to be on Facebook? Everybody is. I'm not. Probably one of the few people that aren't, but do you need to be on Facebook to use it?
No, I think you can use it with a WhatsApp account as well. So if you're one of those people that's not on Facebook and not on WhatsApp, you probably don't want to buy a Facebook portal, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not their target market.
No.
Stu, similarly, not what you've been given from China. What have you purchased?
God, I genuinely can't. I think if I was going to say the thing that brought me the most joy was the Xiaomi M365, the original one, the electric scooter. Obviously, it's a massive grey area in this well, no, it's not grey area. It's pretty black and white. You're not really supposed to be riding them on roads in the.
I was going to say, where's the grey bit coming in?
Well, the grey bit is obviously the weird laws that govern it, because those laws weren't around, when personal vehicles were really a thing. Those laws were written in the 1800s, where they were purely to stop people with carriages from riding on the pavement. That's they've not been updated since then for the modern use of things like personal light electric vehicles, like electric skateboards, electric skates, electric scooters, anything like that. And I think the fact that those laws still govern the use of these technologically advanced and green pieces of technology, it really, really annoys the hell out of me. Really annoys the hell out of me. So for me, it's a grey area because we've yet to update those laws, and the government are looking at updating those laws. I mean, ultimately, it is black and white. You're not supposed to. But then at the same time, they've got scooter trials where you can ride rental versions of these devices. Yeah. Which also really, really annoys me, because all this problem you get in the media of these rental schemes, like they're cluttering the pavements, they're everywhere, they've got riders going all over the place, driving into people. These are because they're rental devices. You wouldn't abandon your own scooter on the pavement.
No.
The people who own the scooters, generally speaking, will be sensible riders, just like people who own bikes. I think the rental schemes are doing more damage to the whole kind of opinion of the general public on electric scooters. But I think if I was going to say my favorite gadget, it would be the M365, because it's a terrible product, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun for the price. And I think for me, that sort of thing is where we need to go to ease congestion, to be more friendly towards the environment. I just think that electric scooters are the thing.
Yeah,
the thing.
So, not going on a tangent, but would the police prosecute? Would they go to the bother?
People have been, but generally speaking, they probably wouldn't prosecute. They could. The thing is, they could prosecute. But again, there's all sorts of weird laws, because if you're riding on the road, then it's classed as a motor offence. If you're riding on the pavement, it's classed as a civil offence, and they're different, different kind of punishments for both. I think if you're on the road, it's like 6 points on your license because you're driving without insurance. Whereas if you do it on the road, on the pavement, it's more of a slap on the back of the wrist. Don't do it again, please.
Okay. Interesting.
Just give you a clip around the ear and send you on your way, you reckon?
Yeah, but not on the scooter.
Yeah, indeed.
So, yeah. But I mean, I used to review a lot of stuff, and the stuff I've reviewed so far, I've done it on mostly private land.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But I think it's becoming more, increasingly difficult the more electric scooters are in the media to do that sort of thing. So.
Okay, thanks. Okay, on to some news items then. So, topical, I think it's topical given some of the news that's come out recently. Smart home privacy. And how concerned should we be? So recently, Amazon had a little bit of concern regarding apps or third-party apps that could access data through the Amazon Alexa app. I think when you look at some of the hubs that have come out, the Echo Show 10 has the cover. The Google hubs have had covers for the cameras. And I think, Mark, when you've just touched on your Facebook portal, should we be concerned? Or is it too tinfoil hat at the moment to think that we're being watched? And
I don't know. I'm at one end of this, that literally nothing exciting enough happens in my house for anyone to care. To record. I think the level of the data that these sort of people would collect, to be able to process and make some use of it in a wrong way, a devious way, it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And maybe I'm naive, but I'm blissfully naive in that sense. I think if anything, if you want convenience, or you want something for free, ultimately you become if you want something for free, you become the product. So if you want, a voice assistant that's able to adapt over time, and you're not going to pay for it, then then you kind of become the product in that sense. So it doesn't worry me that much. Interestingly enough, the only thing I did change was, like, I had some Nest cameras in the house, and that made me think a little bit. So I've kind of tweaked how those work.
What Google could see, because of the risk of being hacked. Because I think that there's still a proportion of consumers who are still worried about either the big corporations selling information, or actually there's still vulnerabilities within these devices that then could be hacked.
Yeah, and the vulnerabilities, I think I feel less like I'm going to be hacked, mainly because any hacker that spends that amount of time to like hear about me talking about rubbish in my house, really, they're kind of, they're open to it. Yeah. Fill the boots, mate, right? There's nothing interesting happening. So that doesn't kind of bother me so much. It's maybe like on a server somewhere, I know for a fact it stores the camera footage because I pay for that. So, who can look at that? Why would they be looking at it? That sort of thing. But I guess not enough to make a major change and remove everything from my house, put on a tinfoil hat and, move out to my own personal island.
Stu?
Well, this is an age-old conversation, and you might have seen Sam on the channel. Have you seen Sam on the channel at all?
Yes.
He's been in the odd few things, but he's one of the guys who helps me with camera work occasionally, but he is the biggest tinfoil hat-wearing man I've ever met in my life, and every little thing we discuss, he's like, oh, yeah, but they're watching, they're watching you. Who is they? Who is them? What are they going to do? And I think, Mark, I'm with you really. What can they possibly do to harm? I mean, they do already know everything about me. They probably do, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm this insignificant spot of data in this massive pool of people's numbers and what they do and all this stuff. And as an individual, it's so unlikely that someone is sat there at the other side of a computer screen looking at what Stu from Stu's Reviews has said in his house to his wife, or, it's so unlikely. And if anyone's watching my security cameras, go for it. It just gives me an excuse to start my OnlyFans, So I think it's important. It's such an important thing, this privacy and security. And like you say, people and consumers are starting to become more savvy to what's happening to their data and where it's going. But I just think there's more things to worry about.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I said. I think when it's blindfold trust of big organizations who are bound by laws, certainly within the EU GDPR, data protection, etc. There's things they can and cannot do. So do I care that Amazon has information about me? No, do you know what? Not really. I mean, I have a Xiaomi hub, which still is connected to the Chinese servers. Do I care that they know when I open a door? No. But it's more around the vulnerability side as to what could somebody do. And I don't mean, because I do agree, Stu, who really cares? Stu and Stu's Reviews, that one little person, are they going to come over? But it's on a scale of what they could do on a broader scale. If there's multiple people.
Scale is the scary bit.
That's the scary bit.
And I've always said this is the weird thing. So Sam obviously has got the tinfoil hat, but we were talking recently about drones, DJI drones, right? And you think all that information that these drones are collating, all of the radar and the infrared scans of the environment, all of that is going back to China. And you think, let's just broaden our minds here. If China wanted to ever invade the UK, they'd have an exact map, detailed replica, 3D of everything in my local area that I've sent my drone up to record. Everything. That's the scary thing. As a whole. To me, it's the scale side that starts to worry.
Yeah. One of the news articles that I found out this week was that there's a company called Verkada. Now, Verkada are a commercial security camera firm. Mm-hmm. They only install in hospitals, prisons, schools, etc. Now, there was a vulnerability where they identified that super admin users were able to access 150,000 camera feeds. Now, the system was hacked. These hackers got access to these super admin user accounts and were able to freely look at prison footage, hospital footage, and children's schools footage. and freely shared that footage with whoever they wanted to do. Now, interestingly enough, what came down to it is the policies within Verkada were wrong to start with. They had two-factor authentication, which was allowed, but they could be turned off by a user. So therefore, the super admin users turned off two-factor authentication. The user could turn off privacy mode to allow Verkada to see footage, but again, the super admin users can turn that off. And what they found was these super admin user accounts could do whatever they wanted with any user accounts. And to me, it was that scale of 150,000 cameras in these quite sensitive areas when you're talking about prisons and hospitals and children's schools, what they were able to do with that as a scale. And to me, it's that scale side of things that I'm concerned about.
I suppose maybe you do like each person you take kind of a risk and you think, how much am I willing to risk for the benefit? So they could hack my cameras for the doorbell, but actually on the good side, when someone rings the doorbell, I can answer it, say that I'm not around. Can they just dump whatever it is? There's some new gadget, right, arrives. I don't want to send that person away. I want them to dump it right there so that I can then go and open it like later in the day, right? So you decide if the benefits of those bits of technology outweigh the risk of it getting hacked and someone viewing that information. And I guess by having it connected and having it administered centrally by someone, the other thing is also when those vulnerabilities are found, they can be fixed relatively quickly, right? Whereas if you have a disconnected or more disconnected system that isn't centrally managed by, the vendor for updates, for example, you run the risk of that thing never being updated and a flaw coming out at a later day, I guess.
Well, that's it. And the thing is, the vulnerability often comes user side as opposed from server side or system side.
Yeah.
The vulnerability comes in people's stupid use of password 123 or other stupid.
I better go change mine.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, you better just let everyone know your password.
Back in a minute. Yeah.
Or even things like clicking on links in emails. Your bank account has been hacked. Please click this link and enter your password. And that comes down to a lack of education in users and what not to do and how to operate a secure system. I mean, I've done as much as I can do from my side to protect everything that I've got. Most of my accounts that I log into are protected by a physical authentic key, so no one's going to be able to get into those without having this physical key, which is locked away in a gun safe. It's like one of the most secure places for it. People, the vulnerabilities are only there because people don't secure their accounts. And I think there's a big part on, especially people like myself and YouTubers and content creators, to make sure that people understand that they need to create secure accounts and educate people on that. Yeah,
definitely education's a part of it. You gotta help people rather than scare them into not having it. Help them get there, but in a kind of a more educated and secure way, right?
Yeah, and phishing, and Stu, I know you mentioned emails. Phishing is certainly one of the biggest culprits for user kind of being at fault for falling foul of some of this stuff. One of the things, and apologies, I don't know if I've ever seen this, but ransomware is obviously in the malware virus area. Mm-hmm. Have we ever seen ransomware of somebody's home footage where a hacker's got access to that footage and isn't holding that consumer to ransom? We've not seen it yet.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if that has happened. But the thing is, would we know about it?
Would we know about it?
Yeah, because that would then put that person at risk to say that they've got footage that is slightly unsavory or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure it has happened. In fact, I'm sure I've read about people hacking into software and holding people. Let me have a look. I'm going to have a look now.
Google it while we're talking.
Hold on.
I reckon, I suppose, if you use local storage, so quite a lot of those cameras will use local storage, like an SD card, that feels less possible, right? I think where maybe that camera footage is stored at the vendor's location, as long as you go down the route of having a relatively large vendor that you're using, right?
Oh dear.
You kind of shouldn't be too worried. Oh, have you just found some footage on me?
Well, yeah. Hold on. What are you doing with that cucumber?
I fell on it, honest. Yeah, I slipped.
No, it says here it was back in 2019. I must have missed this. It was Ring cameras. Apparently, I do remember the hacking of Ring security cameras, but it was saying that people here were subjected to racial abuse and ransom demands.
Wow. I missed that one as well.
This is on ABC. This is over in America. Wow.
Okay. So it has happened. There you go. So there's something else to consider.
Well, that's scary. That's scary. So it says here that an 8-year-old girl, come down the stairs and heard a voice coming out of the Ring camera saying, "I'm Santa Claus. Don't you want to be my best friend?" That is chilling. That is scary.
Whoa. How did they know it wasn't Santa?
Oh, that's true.
This is true. This is true. This is true. Poor Santa. He's been here all along.
That's it. Right? He's just modernised. He's going through people's Ring cams.
Hacking in from the roofs. Don't go down the chimney anymore.
That's it, yeah. Next to that, going around the world, like, as quickly as possible. Just send it via Amazon and talk to them through a camera.
So generally, you guys aren't concerned at the moment.
No.
Nah, and I'm the same. No. I'm the same. Okay, next item. I toyed with this one because I think a lot of people will send a lot of hate towards it. Lack of innovation in technology, and I know CES has been and gone, and it's old news. But I really struggled when you do a very easily Google 2021 top gadgets, top technology stuff. There's not a lot out there to appeal to people. It's quite sad that as a consumer, do I expect too much now? Have we been spoiled with a plethora of technological advances, gadgets, etc. for the home, and actually, where's innovation coming?
Do you think that's kind of relative to what you're used to? So for us three, maybe, like, there's not much new coming because a lot of stuff has been done and been seen, and maybe people are focusing elsewhere. But I still think if you were to ask, like, my mum or my dad, they consider most of the stuff that they see in the last year maybe to be Star Trek stuff, right? So for them, there might be quite a lot of innovation still, I guess.
So do you think it's in context to who you are as a user?
Yeah.
No, I'd agree. I think it's a real difficult thing because there's a lot more innovation in certain sectors than there is in others. So, for example, the phone sector, we've got a lot of innovation coming from companies like Samsung who are creating folding devices. Xiaomi's making a folding device. Huawei's using a folding device. I don't know if you've ever used. Have you used a folding device?
No.
Oh
No.
My God! It is. That is one of you picked that up, and I don't know if you've seen my review of the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2, but I said in there, it's just one of those things that every time you fold it shut, you're like, Christ, this thing folds. This thing folds, and that is a real big innovation. But from the smart home perspective, there hasn't really been a lot of innovation for a while, and I don't know if that's because there is a lack of want from these companies to create something new. I think it's more so that there's so many different companies offering so many different things.
Yeah.
The competition has become, rather than sort of making products that are incredibly different, incredibly new, it's become more about creating the biggest ecosystem and the cheapest ecosystem. So I don't know if we're going through a time at the moment where we're sort of seeing a lull where companies are working out how to make a bigger ecosystem, a cheaper ecosystem. And then once they've done that, we're then going to start seeing more innovation. I don't know. But certainly from the smart home sector, it's a bit odd at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I found in an article through Esquire and other men's magazines are available. When you look at the top gadgets or smart home items for 2021. Here's a couple of them that Esquire believe are some of the top ones. A smart baby cot.
Is that the one that does that? It throws the baby up in the air.
Throws the baby up and down, so it launches your baby around the room. Okay. We have a smart toothbrush, because everybody needs a toothbrush to tell them how hard they're brushing their teeth.
I'm not sure about that, yeah.
More earphones. More watches. There just seems to be a real lack of anything that's exciting. And Stu, I know you did a CES kind of roundup, there wasn't anything there that was like, I need this.
No, and I think I'll forgive manufacturers at the moment because obviously last year was such an unusual time, and a lot of companies, cut down their R&D, for the sake of saving money and keeping employed, which is, understandable. And the thing is, what's always annoyed me, though, about CES is when people show off this new technology, they show off these ridiculous concepts that we'll never, ever see in our home, ever, literally ever. You had all Samsung showing off these robots, the handy robot, which, they showed on stage pouring a glass of wine and stacking your dishwasher. That's incredible. That is an innovation that I want to see in my house right now. I want one in the backdrop now, just tidying up my desk. It'd be awesome.
New tea.
Yeah, get me a cup of tea. I've run out. Pour me a glass of whiskey. But
I might even sugar the baby to sleep.
Yeah. But we'll never ever see that
No.
in our house. I mean, okay, we might see it in 15 years' time. But what annoys me is these companies showing off stuff that's far more advanced than what they can actually produce for the general consumer.
Do you think part of that is show the future, or what they see as the future is testing the water, and then actually what they deliver is maybe a quarter or a half of that, but they're trying to figure out how much people are excited about that, because you got to kind of sell the dream to then deliver maybe a little bit of reality. I see that happening in other large companies.
Maybe, and I agree. You've got to kind of dream, right? You got to dream. Yeah. You've got to drive interest in whatever they're doing. And I guess with the Samsung HandyBot, it did look like they had a working version. I don't know what extent, because all they did was show it rolling on stage, taking a glass of water off the chap, and then rolling off stage. So what can it actually do? I don't know. But what really annoys me are the companies that show off stuff that literally all it is just a CGI.
It's a concept.
Like vaporware kind of thing,
Yeah,
it
man,
doesn't
it
exist.
just annoys me. The Razer did one at CES, which was this gaming chair called Project Brooklyn, I think they called it. And that was a gaming chair. You sat in it, and then it had like a screen that flipped over you, and it had RGB lights everywhere. And it was just ridiculous. Who's got room for that? Literally, who has got room for that in the house? But I think innovation's great, but only if it can be proven. If you're going to do something, if you're going to say something, do it. Samsung went, right, we're going to make a folding phone. Here it is. Look at that. Everyone's like, great. Imagine they'd come on stage though and gone, here's a CGI folding phone. We think it might be possible. Everyone would be like, oh, right, okay.
Nice. Yeah.
But see with the folding phone, are the hinges at a point where thousands and thousands of revolutions of that hinge, is it going to last? Or is it going to be... at the moment,
I guess they must test that, no? Like, like when you go to IKEA and you see that little machine pushing in the drawer in and out 1,000 times. They've got a little machine that just goes like this. And I'm opening and closing my hands, by the way, for those, not watching on TV. It's just like testing it, I guess. What they don't test it with is like, a toddler or a 1-year-old opening and closing it with their mouth and a small plastic car.
Yeah, I do love ideas. I think it's the Surface Duo. That's the one I would love to go for. But at the moment, I just think it's too early. That it's the innovation. It's just new. Are the hinges going to snap? I drop it once and it's gubbed.
Oh, I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
I'm not being too pessimistic, Stu.
I think so. You look at other Hinge products in the past that have stood up the test of time, like the Nintendo DS. That stood the test of time. That had hinging in. We were all sort of like, wow, dual screen games console, amazing. But they stood the test. I mean, you had the one or two that did break, but probably because the kids were opening it with toy cars, like you say. But I think we need to have a bit of trust in this technology. It's not going to be perfect. It never is. Even iterations of devices that are in the sort of like 10th generation now, they've still got problems. They still get released. There are still teething problems. And that's just the nature of things. And I think the only reason that might put me off something like a folding phone is that, you are right. The hinges could break. Something could break on it because we're not... this is a new technology respectively to phones. But the reason it will put me off is only because of the price. The price is just insane. £1,800, £1,900 for a phone that could break. That's a lot of money. If it was £1,000, you'd have me sitting here going, get one now, buy it right now. But double that price for a bit of uncertainty. Ooh.
I think we'll get there to the price point. If you look at £1,000 phone right now, if you go back 5, 6, 7 years, you would gawk at £1,000 phone.
Yeah.
And that's standard now. Flagship phones, £1,000, no problem.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of the general public, so the smart home tech, smart tech community that is almost buying those products to then like test them? We're almost like early testers to have the vendor create one, maybe two of them. So the version 3 is what my mum goes and buys, right? But version 1 and 2 is what we use to actually see whether it work. If I think of all the like bits of tech that I've purchased over time, that actually, the second or third iteration has probably been about right, but I've bought it right at the start, and I think that's almost what we like to do in a sort of way. We're trailblazing to see what will work and how it'll work, and then at a later point, it's cheaper. To your point, Leigh, and also, we've helped iron out all the bits. Whether we've just had to pay for the privilege, unfortunately.
We're the guinea pigs, expensive guinea pigs.
Indeed, but you take my money, man.
It's true.
Take it.
It's true. Anything new, literally, I'm like, I want that now. So it's like the Echo Show 10. Like, I want that now. Actually, I've got that now. It's been sitting behind me in a box. So I still haven't got it out. I'm excited about that. But I wanted that because of what it did. I thought, wow, that's cool. I've not seen anything quite like that before. I want it. And that's when we see innovation like that, that's when you spend money, because it's something new and different.
And those Echoes are a good example, right? Because I can't possibly need any more Echoes in my house, right? I'm never more than about 40 centimeters away from an Echo of some description. But to your point, when a new one comes out, I have this compulsion to buy it because, I need to be 10 centimeters away from an Echo at any point in my house.
And again, I think I'm being too pessimistic at times. I think the Show 10 looks fantastic. It looks great. But really, a swiveling screen?
Yeah, completely unnecessary. Completely 100% unnecessary.
Quite cool.
It's got a swiveling screen.
Fair enough. So quick segue then, given Stu, you still think there's innovation out there. Any gadgets or items this year you've got your eye on, apart from the Show 10, you've got your eye on and you're going to splurge the money regardless?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, last year was a real big year for sort of like new stuff. And, you had the Fold, you had the PS5, the Series S, you had obviously the Echo Show, all the new Echo devices as well. You had the 4th gen Dot, you had the 4th gen Echo as well. There's a lot of stuff. This year, it's all a bit quiet.
Mm-hmm. It
is all a bit quiet. I haven't got anything on pre-order or anything. Oh, I've got one thing. It's not smart home, though, and that's coming in May. It's the Analog Pocket. Are you aware of it?
No,
it's made by a company called Analog. They make a lot of synth devices and other stuff. They made games consoles, retro games consoles. They make again, but a new version of it, and they're making a new version of the Game Boy Color called the Analog Pocket, and I'm quite excited about that. Yeah,
I would buy that.
Yeah, well, I think they might be sold out at the moment, but that's been on pre-order since last year in April, so long time. But from a smart home perspective, I think at the moment it was just the Echo Show 10, which I'm excited to get out of the box. That's it for now.
Which is a shame.
Mark? Stu, I think what we need to buy, right, where we'll timeshare it, is a Vesta board. Have you heard of a Vesta board?
Yes, a Vesta board. I've seen the little...
There we are. We need that.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
We need that in our lives.
I did reach out to them. and said, hey, can I have a look at one? And they were like, oh, we're not doing that at the moment. No, you can't. I think this was at the point they were just looking for sort of crowdfunding. But they look pretty cool.
They do look cool.
The problem is, what would I use it for realistically? And I've always wanted to have a subscriber counter somewhere on the set. Yeah. And I did for a short while. If you go back maybe about a year, I went onto Etsy And I got this guy to create a subscriber counter from an old Nixie clock. You know what a Nixie clock is?
Yep.
No.
I'll have a look.
Clock, it's one of the old like Russian clocks with the heated filaments for the numbers.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
You recognise it's very, very Art Deco. I asked him to create a Nixie clock subscriber counter, and this guy did. He made me one. And then about a month later, YouTube closed their API for subscriber counters. So you can no longer use things like Vesta board or Smurl or Flip It or my own custom Nixie clock.
A metric time. Buy yourself a metric time.
It still doesn't count subscriber counters to the exact. It only does a rounded up number. So
Mark's nodding.
Yeah, mate. I'll look at it like every 10 seconds. It's in my kitchen. I know what you mean. There is a bit. There's a.
Hold on.
Yeah?
No. For you there is. For you there is. So under 1,000 subscribers, you can see. Under 1,000 subscribers, you can see every one subscriber. When you go over that, you can see every. It might be every 100 subscribers. 100. It goes 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and I think when you get to 10, that's it. It just starts counting 10, 11, 12,000.
Oh yeah.
14,000. So
that's not going to be a problem for me for quite some time.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Rub it in mine, don't you, Stu?
It'll go quicker than anything. Don't do this to me. No. Stop. It'll be fine. You'll get there. You'll get there. It's quick. It's quick. After the first 1,000, your next 1,000 will take less than a week. It's fine. I promise. But yeah, no. So it changes when you get more subscribers. You can't see the exact figure. And
cool.
Really annoyed me because I was like you. I loved watching it. It was like
an obsession.
Going. Yeah, it was an obsession. Yeah, it was an addiction. And I'm not happy about it. But
we're gonna have a therapy session sometime. Maybe this is what's happening right now. This is a therapy session.
I'm just going to break down in tears. Terrible.
So, Mark, is the Vesta board on the table, or is that just a dream?
Oh, mate, that's a dream. If I bought a Vesta table, I'd have to live in the box because I'd get chucked out of the house, I reckon. I'm not sure what I would display on it. It's a very good point. Maybe so I've got that metric time showing me like octopus agile rates at the minute, like the energy provider. I don't even have octopus agile, but I just love the fact that not yet, it's coming, but I love the fact I can sit there and I can tell when I should put the dishwasher on and various other bits of randomness. Love it. Notifications, can't get enough of them. Already got them on my phone. Now I've got them in my kitchen.
Well, I think you need to start a savings fund for that Vesta board, and then time
Yeah. Will do.
How much are they?
2,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ! $2,000.
Yeah.
For what it on Etsy and hire someone to make you one. It'll be cheaper. $2,000.
Yeah. For what it is, I don't get the price point. I really don't. $2,000.
I could buy a second-hand one, like a second-hand board from like an old train station, and just pay for someone to update them for me. That might be cheaper.
have a look at. There's like another one. There's like a smaller version of it. Typed in called Flap It. It's called Flap It.
Yes, I've seen that.
That's much cheaper. That's like 300 quid, 400 quid, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's cheaper than £2,000. I can tell you now.
That's it. But the other one's bigger, which means it must be awesome.
It's true. Bigger is better.
There is that fact.
To be fair, that flap, it just looks like the metric timer, Matt. You might not.
Yeah, but flappy rather than...
It's got like flappy bits,
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
I see. There we are. You can display whatever you want on that. The weather, notifications, counters, anything.
Yeah, thanks, Stu. You just cost me another 300 quid.
I can hear you.
You're an evil man.
Yeah. Flap It. Can you count this as an affiliate sale, please?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Is there a link I should be using?
Yeah. No, I'm not affiliated to Flap It in any way. Disclaimer.
And there are the energy suppliers from Octopus. Just to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
sorry,
hold on a minute. Hold on. You've got Octopus in my head now. I'm thinking, should I Google Octopus after this?
Brilliant.
I'll send you my code.
Oh, Jesus.
This is getting dark. Before we wrap up, how am I going now? 50 minutes or so. Mark, what's upcoming in your YouTube page? Anything you want to plug, or anything you've done recently that you want people to know about?
Yeah. So I just recently released a video on the smarter fridge cam and how that works with IFT. It's interesting that they put something that uses Wi-Fi or connects via Wi-Fi inside a fridge, essentially quite a large metal box. But apart from that, it has enabled me to find out who's been. I could see was like 2 little green ears. But apart from that, yeah, it's worked out quite well.
It's some creepy homeless guy coming in your house at night. That's what it is.
A bearded, creepy-looking fellow with 2 little green ears.
Just for reference, I am wearing cat ear headphones at the moment. For those listening via audio, I think he's insinuating I'm going into his fridge. But it is true, I am, because I've run out of beers on my own. So.
Yeah, fair enough, you know. It's all sharing, man.
Stu, what about yourself?
I've got so much coming up. Like, I've got a lot I want to do and have got in the planning. There's one coming up tonight, if I can get the editing done, and that is a review of the Flick 2 buttons that I'm holding right now. In fact, this might be the one. Hold on. If I press this button right now, you might get something coming on audio. Hold on. Oh, just see the lights change.
I see the lights.
Wait.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know if the listeners would hear that, but there's some sultry music going on in the background.
Turn it up a little bit. Oh, baby.
Lose your voice. Lose your voice as well. Can you hear it?
Alexa, stop.
Those are brilliant, those little flick buttons, aren't they?
They're incredible. They're really, really fun. A couple of weird little issues. They're quite pricey. So for those that don't know what these are just little buttons that connect to your smart home through IFTTT or even controlling Amazon routines now. And they're awesome. They can do a lot of stuff, but they're expensive. £130 for a set of them. And
how many's in the set?
3.
Ooh. See, I like the size of them. But the price points always put me off, and I think because they've got the wee Xiaomi hub, they do something similar, but they're bigger. And you can pick a Xiaomi button up for 10 quid.
Well, you can pick one of the buttons up from Flick for 20 quid on its own.
Oh, okay.
But the but is that it only works with Bluetooth. So you have to have your phone in the house. And that's a problem. If you say have got a routine to, I don't know, arm your security cameras when you go out, if your phone isn't in the house at the time that button is pressed, it won't work. It won't work.
Then you need to buy the hub, right? I think.
Yes, which will then set you back 130 quid for that package because they don't sell the hub separately. So, like, that is a big criticism. And that's what Switchbot does really well. Have you seen Switchbot?
Yeah.
Well,
I need to buy one of them.
They're incredible. They're so cool. I've got a review on that coming as well. But they sell everything separately, so you can buy the hub separate to the actual Switchbot. So if you wanted just Bluetooth control, no problem, buy a Switchbot. If you then want to access that Switchbot control via the internet, you can then buy the hub separately. So that's what I really like, and it sort of spreads that cost out. But Flick don't do that. Annoying.
I'll look forward to that video.
Hopefully it'll come tonight.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay, before we wrap up, I always like to, I did in episode 1, I'll do the same here, a couple of mystery questions for each of you. You get 30 seconds to answer your question.
Hold on. If my camera dies, I apologise. It's gone a bit weird. It's gone a bit strange. I'm trying to fix it now, but can you still see me?
You look
I
good.
can.
Look handsome, Nigella.
Right, sorry about that.
Okay. Stu, I'll start with you. 30 seconds, actually. Let me get the timer out.
The answer is no. The answer is no. 5, and yes, I will have some chicken for dinner.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to get my
And does it support Wi-Fi? If so, I will have it.
Wi-Fi chicken.
That's it.
Right. Stu, you've recently had a baby.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Okay. Tell us in 30 seconds why your channel should be called Stu Reviews Baby Poos. 30 seconds now.
Why it should or why it shouldn't be? Because why it should be called? It shouldn't be called that because it is the worst possible thing. Changing a baby's nappy.
No. Why it should be called Stu's Reviews Baby Poos?
Well, I don't want to review baby poos. That's the answer to the question. I don't want to be anywhere near my child's nappy at all. In fact, this is that bad that I Googled beforehand, is there any smart home tech that can change my baby's nappy for me? There is nothing. And then when I went into thinking about how dangerous that could actually be for the child, I thought I could understand why there isn't anything. But if any manufacturers are listening to this right now, please make a nappy changing piece.
30 seconds is up.
That's it.
And Mark, listen, that's an easy one to beat. Stu just avoided the question completely.
I avoid baby poo. Yes, I do on a regular basis.
Okay,
understandably.
Let me reset my timer. 30 seconds.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we'll start once I finish the question. Don't worry. Your wife comes in one day and says that all the smart devices in the house have stopped working. Okay, she's in a panic. She wants the heating back on as a priority. But you have to convince her that the priority really has to be the Wi-Fi controlled guinea pig robot. Go.
I would tell her that although I could get the heating working, actually the Wi-Fi controlled guinea pig robot generates much more heat and can disperse it around the house a lot quicker. And so therefore the guinea pig should be first.
You get 10 seconds.
And that's why any vendors that make guinea pig robots should send them to me.
I feel that's an unfair question because that has actually happened to you. Because I feel so convinced that has happened to you already.
Well done. Well done, Mark. You're the winner.
Yeah!
It's rigged. It's all rigged.
It's all rigged.
Listen, guys, we've came to the end and fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed having this conversation today.
Likewise, thank you.
Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Just like, I suppose if there are any guinea pig robots, do send them my way. Because I feel like I've got to prove that's actual fact now, right? I've said that it would happen, so I've got to make it happen.
Mark,
Stu, any suggestions?
Mark, guinea pig influencer. You need that on your Twitter handle.
Oh, yes.
Guinea pig influencer. One of the only guinea pig robot influencers.
Hashtag guinea pig.
Captured the whole market.
It's niche, but hey, people love it, right?
Exactly. Got to go niche.
Brilliant. Super, guys. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you can be notified when my newest conversation comes out. And if you've got any suggestions for guests that you want me to interview, please feel free to find me on Twitter at the SH Collective.